Hi everybody, this is the second part of this subtopic 7.2 parallel line and perpendicular line. If you haven't watched my first part video for this subtopic, I will encourage you to watch that video first. Okay, now let's look at collinear. What does this word mean? Collinear. If the question tells you that the point A, B, and C are collinear, this means that point A, B, C, they lies on the same straight line. From here, we know that gradient of AB and gradient of BC and also the gradient of AC will be the same. Okay, so remember, collinear means that they have the same gradient. But if I tell you the gradient of PQ is equal to the gradient of BC, in this case, they have the same gradient, can I make a conclusion that PQ, BC, they are collinear? We cannot say that they must be collinear because it can be collinear, it can be not collinear as well. We cannot make a conclusion that they are collinear. What we can tell is they are parallel line. They are parallel to each other. Why? Because you don't see any common point. What the question tells us, gradient of PQ and the gradient of BC, same, right? It can be like this. The PQ is over here and the BC is over here. In this case, they have the same gradient. They are parallel to each other. PQ, BC parallel to each other, same gradient, but PQ, BC are not collinear. You see the BC is not, this 2 points are not lines on this straight line, right? So in this case, they are not collinear. But if the question tells you the gradient of PQ is equal to the gradient of PC, for example, you have the common point, right? Here you have P and here you have P. In this case, we know that these 3 points PQC, they must be lines on the same straight line. So they are collinear. Okay, so don't mix up this concept. Collinear means that they have the same gradient, but when they have the same gradient, in this case, doesn't mean that they must be collinear. It can be collinear, it cannot be collinear. So if they have a common point like this, PQ and PC, and they have the same gradient, then we can make a conclusion. They are collinear. So you will learn more about this in the chapters of vectors. Okay, now let's look at a few questions related to this parallel line and perpendicular line. Determine whether each of the following pair of lines are parallel. So parallel means that they have the same gradient, right? If their gradient are the same, then we can say that they are parallel to each other. So I think I just show you B and C. Y equal to -1 over 2x minus 9. And then we have another straight line, which is x over 10 plus y over 5 is equal to 1. So in this case, we can get the gradient easily, right? Here is a gradient, y equal to mx plus c. M is a gradient, and the c here is y-intercept. I hope that you still remember this. So from here we know that the gradient, okay, I just let it be m1. The gradient is -1 over 2. So how about this? This is intercept form. If you have a equation look like this, x over a plus y over b is equal to 1, right? So this a is an x-intercept, and this b is a y-intercept. And when we find the gradient, Normally we recall back the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? Besides using this formula, still remember we have another formula which is negative y-intercept divided by x-intercept. Still remember this? Okay, if we know this formula, we can get the gradient for this straight line easily. We know the x-intercept is over here 10 and the y-intercept is over here 5. So negative y-intercept over x-intercept, and then we simplify it, we get the gradient is negative 1 over 2, right? Okay, now m1, since m1 is equal to m2, therefore they are parallel to each other. Okay, so now let's try C. Y equal to 2x plus 3. So this one we can get the gradient easily. We know that the gradient is equal to 2, right? So how about the second straight line? Negative y is equal to 2x minus 1. Okay, can I say that the gradient is 2? No. So remember, if you want to get the gradient and the y-intercept directly by looking on the equation, you have to make sure that the coefficient of y here is equal to 1 and positive. What does this mean? So let's say, for example, you have an equation which is 2y is equal to 4x plus 6. You cannot say that the gradient is 4, the y-intercept is 6. This is not correct. Before you look at the gradient, before you determine the gradient and the y-intercept, you have to make sure that the coefficient of y here is equal to 1 and positive. So for example, in this case, if I want to get the gradient, I have to divide the whole equation by 2. Why do I divide this whole equation by 2? It's because that I want to change the coefficient become 1. This divided by 2, this divided by 2, this divided by 2. Okay, so 2y divided by 2, you get y. And then this one, you divided by 2, you get 2x. And then this 6 divided by 2, you will get 3. Now, the coefficient of y here is 1. Nothing here means 1. And it's positive. Then, we can get the gradient. The gradient is equal to 2. And the y-intercept is equal to 3. So in this case, this is negative 1. So we cannot say that the gradient is the gradient is 2. It's not correct. So what we need to do is we change this negative 1 become positive 1. So how to do that? We just multiply the whole equation by negative 1. When I multiply the whole equation by negative 1, this I multiply by negative 1, I will get positive. This I multiply by negative 1, I get negative 2x. And negative 1 times negative 1, you get positive 1. So now, this is already 1 and positive. Now we can get the gradient easily. The gradient is negative 2. So if the question asks you about the y-intercept, then it will if the question asks you the y-intercept for this straight line, then it will be positive 1. So be careful, not negative 1. So in this case, now we compare these two. No, they are not the same. This is 2, this is negative 2, right? Since m1 is not equal to m2, therefore, they are not parallel to each other. Okay, so this is the way how we determine the given two lines are parallel or not parallel. Okay, now let's look at this example. Given that the line, okay, let me copy down first. 4x plus ky plus 1 is equal to 0, and I have another straight line. Okay, I think this is typing error, so I just cancel this part. Okay, and another straight line, 2x minus 5y minus 9 is equal to 0. They are parallel to each other. This means that they have the same gradient, okay? And the question asks us to find the value of k. Okay, so how about I try to change this equation in the form to a form of y equal to mx plus c first. Okay, so I move these two things for x and positive 1 over here. So it becomes ky is equal to negative 4x minus 1. And then can I say that the gradient is equal to negative 1 and the y-intercept is equal to negative, can I say the gradient is equal to negative 4 and the y-intercept is equal to negative 1? No, cannot. Still remember what I told you just now. If you want to get the gradient and the y-intercept just by directly looking on this equation, you have to make sure that the coefficient of y is equal to positive and 1. Now we have k over here, so we don't want this k. So what should we do? We divide this whole equation by k. So here ky divided by k, you will get y. And here you will get negative 4 over k x, and here you will get negative 1 over k. Okay, so now the coefficient of y is already 1 and positive. We know this will be the gradient, right? Okay, so m1 is equal to negative 4 over k. So now we do the same thing, exactly the same thing for this part. Negative 5y, copy this. Okay, include the sign in front of this 5y, okay, negative. And the others, I just move it over there. It becomes negative 2x, negative 9. Okay, I don't want this negative 5. I want to get rid of this negative 5. So what should I do? I divide the whole equation by negative 5. Oh. So you will get y over here, and then this will become 2 over 5 x, and this will become positive 9 over 5. Okay. Oops, sorry, I think I made a mistake here. Okay, you try to figure out what is a mistake that I have just done. So this is not correct. Why? This is positive 2x, right? I bring it over here, it should be negative 2x, correct? This one no problem, but this here is a mistake. Negative 1, negative 9, you move over here should be positive 9. Okay, so here should be negative. Sorry for that. Okay, so in case you get a little bit confused about this, let me show you another way. So let's say if you don't know how do I get 2 over 5 and negative 9 over 5, you can do it another way. Negative 5y, you copy, and then divided by negative 5, and then negative 2x divided by negative 5. Okay, if you don't want to put the parentheses, okay. And then positive 9 divided by negative 5. So that it will end up negative become positive, and then this become 2 over 5. Negative will cancel up each other, and then positive, negative, you get negative. Okay, so there's a way how I get this. Okay, let me double check again to see correct or not. Y equal to 2 over 5x minus 9 over 5. Okay, correct. Okay, let me erase this one first. Okay, now the coefficient of y is positive and 1. We can get the gradient easily. Okay, so the gradient is equal to 2 over 5. And the question tells you that they are parallel, means that they have the same gradient. it means that this is actually equal to this, right? So negative 4 over k is actually equal to 2 over 5. So we can just do cross multiplication. And then some students get confused. They will, because they don't know, they might think the negative is together with 4 or together with k. It's up to you. You can, if you feel confused, you can write this way. Or you can bring the negative go down. Okay, it's all up to you. You get exactly the same answer. Okay, you can assume that the negative is beside the 4, or assume that the negative is beside the k. Both will give you exactly the same answer. Okay, in this case, I will just assume that the negative is in front of this 4. So negative 4 times 5, I'm doing cross multiplication. Negative 4 times 5 will give you negative 20, and then the k, okay, no negative in front because just now I already assumed that the negative is in front of 4. So now the k in front here, no negative. K times 2, you get 2k. And then here, I think it should be no problem. 2 times k, and it becomes negative 20 over 2, right? You bring the 2 over here, become divide. K is equal to negative 10. Okay, so this is the way how we get the value of k. Okay, I think for this video, I stop here first. I will continue discussing others example for this subtopic in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.